All right, lastly, execution. This is where a lot of leaders assume that this isn't their job, that this is the job of the managers and the people who are doing the work, and they go off to the next thing. But with execution, this is about getting it done. And the leader has to stay engaged. The leader has to be able to provide momentum, structure, and give people feedback. So let's talk about momentum. Do you have these above ground swimming pools? Anybody ever swam in one of these? Yeah, okay. You don't have these in Finland? Okay, well then you have to get out and go to some other place. But let me tell you about these. The above ground ones are always circular, because they have to be, otherwise the physics wouldn't let the pool hold together, right? So we have this circular swimming pool, it's filled with water. Jump in with me. Jump in. And let's all start walking around in the same direction. Are you with me? What are we doing? What's going on? The water is moving. It's actually creating a whirlpool, isn't it? So the water is moving, and if we decide we're going to stop walking, what will happen? The water keeps moving. We can float in it. We can try to walk against it. It's kind of fun. But it keeps moving. That's momentum. That's momentum. So what does this have to do with leadership? Leaders have to create momentum. They have to get things moving. Even if they jump out of the pool, if you jump out of the pool, the water is going to keep moving. And just like with leadership, you have to get things going, and they will keep moving if you create momentum. So let's imagine that we were going to raise our customer satisfaction scores from 72 to 84. That was our goal. Momentum means you're going to keep track of it. Maybe you're going to have a big diagram in the break room or in the entrance of the company so people can see, how are we doing? That's momentum. So having these indicators or having people share in the progress, that's momentum. Reporting on where we are. If we were trying to open 10 new offices, how many have we opened so far? How are they doing? Have people share information. That's momentum. And that's an important part of leadership. And a lot of leaders kind of bail at this point. They stop leading because they're on to the next thing. So we have to make sure that leaders are initiating that action to get that momentum going. The next thing that leaders need to pay attention to is creating structure and having plans. And again, this is more detail than some leaders want to participate in. Does anybody know who this cartoon character is? Okay, so we have the Roadrunner over here on the left. This is the Roadrunner. And this is Wiley Coyote. So if you've ever watched Wiley Coyote and the Roadrunner, you know that Wiley Coyote is trying to catch the Roadrunner. And he uses some really elaborate schemes. He takes hollowed out carrots and fills them with nitroglycerin. It bombs up, things blow up. Does he ever catch the Roadrunner? Never. Why? He has some great plans, but he never takes the time to analyze the plans in depth. Like he does things with boomerangs, and if he analyzed a boomerang, he'd understand that a boomerang is designed to come back to its owner, hit him. Or if he understood that by the time he throws that hollowed out carrot, the Roadrunner, who runs at a much faster speed than he can throw, is going to be long gone. He doesn't take the time to analyze things in depth, and that's why his plans fail. So as leaders, if you don't take the time to analyze things, your plans could fail. And this means we have to not only analyze what will happen if things go poorly, we also have to analyze what will happen if things go exceedingly well. I worked with a company on a consulting basis, and the company actually failed. Not because I was working with them, but they failed because they were so successful. Their product was so in demand that they couldn't meet demand. And people got frustrated. And they never had a plan in place for what if we sell twice as many of these as we forecast? What if we sell 10 times as many of these? What if people in other countries and communities want what we have, what we're selling? What will happen? How will we meet the demand? There's a company in Minneapolis. It's actually a brewing company, and they created a beer, and they started their distribution, and it was very well received. The company is called Surly. Very well received, and they started in the Midwest in Minnesota, and they ended up, because their success was outpacing what they could do, they shut down territories. They stopped selling beer in Wisconsin. They stopped selling beer in Ohio so that they could get things right, and now they're just going back and entering those markets again. So they had a plan. They analyzed things in depth so that they could manage that success. All right, the last thing is when leaders talk about championing execution, they're very good at giving each other feedback, giving people on the team feedback. There's a company, and I think most of you will know this company. It is based in the States, but there's a group of artists that every day work really hard, and they draw things and create things, and then they get together the next morning at 9 a.m. and they give each other feedback. They tell each other what's not working with that diagram you did, or what's not working with that character, or how could you improve that particular image or that illustration. Every day. They call them critique sessions or feedback sessions. And this company is very successful because they have a culture in which they give each other feedback. You want to know the company? Pixar. Anybody ever watch any of these movies? Yeah? Can you name them? Okay, you can do it in Finnish. I won't notice. So it's Incredibles, Ratatouille, Toy Story, Bugs Life, Cars, Wally, Monsters, Up, and Nemo. Yeah. They're all excellent movies. And the way Pixar creates high quality movies is during that execution process, they're giving each other feedback. They have a culture of giving each other feedback. So you have to think about yourself as a leader is how good are you at addressing problems before they get down the road? I mean, Pixar doesn't release a movie and then say, oops, that wasn't good enough, and recall it. The movie's out there. So how do you as a leader make sure that you're addressing problems? And many of us don't like to address problems because it's hard to say, that's not going to work. It's hard to say, I think you made a mistake in your analysis. It's hard to say, it's good, but I think it could be better. But that's what we have to do as leaders when we're talking about execution. So there's our things for execution, for championing execution. We talked about momentum and initiating that action in our swimming pool. We talked about structure and making sure we have an in-depth plan, like Wiley Coyote. And then we talked about addressing problems by giving people feedback, like Pixar. And again, when you think about your leadership, you have the opportunity to look at these pages in your assessment. You're going to have one page on momentum, page 17. And again, the right side is the good place to be. You'll have one page, page 18, on structure, and one page on feedback, page 19. So as a leader, think about how can you be more effective when it comes to championing execution? How can you improve your ability to lead by providing momentum, by giving people structure, by giving people feedback.